Second referee, Mr. Nestor Matematico. Let's call on our starting lineup from our CREAMLINE Pool Smashers. Let's begin with our team captain, which wear jersey number 2, Alyssa Valdez. At number 12, Julia Melissa Morado de Guzman. At number 13, Celine Domingo. Wearing jersey number 14, Jeanette Panaga. At number 21, guest player from Turkey, Yeliz Basa. And number 23, Jessica Margaret Galanza. Libero, number 11, Kyla Liana Atienza. Head coach, Mr. Sherwin Meneses. Calling on our United Auctioneers, Philippine Army Lady Troopers. They're led by their team captain, who wear jersey number 8, Sergeant Jovelyn Gonzaga. At number 2, Private Marianne Esguera. Wearing jersey number 4, Private Ivy Perez. At number 9, Private Audrey Catherine Paran. Number 19, guest player from Ontario, East Canada, Laura Condota. And number 21, Private Jeanette Villarreal. Libero wears jersey number 10, Sergeant Angela Nunag. Head coach, Staff Sergeant Emilio Kung Fu Reyes Jr. This is the preliminary round, match number 29.
And there you have it. We welcome you back to the first game of this Saturday's doubleheader. The CREAMLINE Pool Smashers versus the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. As we mentioned, both teams are coming off a loss. The CREAMLINE Pool Smashers against the F2 Cargo Movers and the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers against the Choco Mucho Flying Titans.
Dennis, it will be very interesting to see how Army will play, who's going to step up on behalf of Royce Tobino. As you mentioned, she won't be playing here today.
As we start with set 1, that was quite an interview we've had with Gia de Guzman and also, of course, with Jovelyn Gonzaga. I felt, Captain Gonzaga was, she was very vulnerable when she said that. And it takes a lot, I guess, of humility, and it shows why she's the captain of this strong team.
That's right. And, in my mind nga kanina nung in-interview natin siya, wala naman ang papatunayan ng isang Jovelyn Gonzaga. But it's very evident, like she mentioned, na she's playing different than how she played in the previous tournaments, especially during the Invitational Conference kung saan kakabalik niya lang din. She was really top scoring for Army as we saw that transition error between Condota and Nunag. Medyo nagkalabuan doon. So, going back to that interview with Gia, parang very systematic yung mga adjustments nila. Sabi niya nga, pag second ball yung kanya, yung adjustment would have to be like from the person who holds the ball before her and after her. And it really goes to show how they pay attention to those small details. Wherein yun naman din ang kulang nitong Army Lady Troopers as they are down by 3 here already.
Jumping back on what you mentioned, yung kulang, na nakita nga natin yung systematic approach of the CREAMLINE Pool Smashers. That's been their strength, as Gia also mentioned. But we've seen, I guess, on the other hand, the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers, that's where you see the lapses. With, of course, mistaking the transition between Condota. It's these little things that will really make a difference whether the Army Lady Troopers will be able to get the win, but apparently not, as the CREAMLINE Pool Smashers 4-0. So our Army Lady Troopers will be calling for a timeout this early on.
Oh, they do this one. So what happened that one? Ano tayo? Realize, sabi agad tayo. Yung switch. I-timing nyo na yung switch natin. Okay?
Stay na lang muna namin.
Stay, then after one rally, transition, then you change position. Okay, not in that kind of situation. But if you have to change, look at the ball. Okay?
Let's go.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
one more.
I'll call you.
One good pass tayo,
Yes.
one good pass, then transition. Pwede ka magpa-play one. You take the 3.
Got it.
Okay?
Booyah.
Let's go.
UAI!
One good pass. Sometimes easier said than done.
And Coach Kung Fu and Jovelyn Gonzaga also going back to that point, yung sabi ko kanina, transitional error. Kasi si Gonzaga, as you can see, nasa open side siya ngayon while Condota is on the opposite side. And they would have to transition to go back to their original positions. Pero it happened during the time na the ball was in play. So hindi nakita ni Condota yung bola as another report here from Franny is on our way.
As mentioned earlier, Royce Tubino will not be playing in today's game due to some personal matters. But in her place, Audrey Paran is starting. I asked her if she has any starting jitters, and she told me whatever feelings she has, she set aside. Because her goal is to help her team. Paano siya makakatulong, yun ang gagawin niya. She told me that Ate Jovi has been great at guiding her. They are always partnering together during practices, and she assured me that with the trust of her team and her coaches, hanggang dulo lalaban. Back to you guys.
But the one good pass seems a bit elusive for the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. Nabawi! Finally, the Army, they needed that win to stop the bleeding.
Definitely, it was a series of errors, and CREAMLINE just maximizing on those errors. And the errors that they were committing were the simple ones, diba? Yung paglipat ng pwesto, yung pag-receive, as we saw Gemma Galanza with back-to-back aces as well. So they needed that one stop to get things going for them, for there.
Jovelyn Gonzaga, again, getting that back-to-back score. Now, you can't help but just want to root for the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. They've been trying to do their best to get their first win in the tournament, and while of course the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers are already a shoe-in, they don't want to disappoint the fans.
That's right. As we saw Laura Condota with service ace right there. Don't look now, 3 points down. This is a 3-0 run from Army. And alam mo, nabanggit ni Ate Jov kanina yung kanyang burnout and a different performance this conference compared to her previous outings. Pero this might be the start of her getting back to her groove dahil wala si Royce Tubino, and she's even more forced to really perform better to rally itong Army. But it's a very difficult task going up against CREAMLINE, who goes to so many spikers, as we saw that Panaga spike.
Right in the middle. Paran with a reception. They go again to Jovelyn Gonzaga, cross court. Gemma setting it up. And too strong for the reinforcement of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. Basa.
Great read there by the defenders of Army. That spike was really sailing out. And alam mo, we have to credit also yung blockers kasi nakita natin from our perspective how they really timed that ball kasi it was a high set eh.
That was Paran serving. Gia. Ooh, Paran was there. It's good to know her, to see her stepping up so much, especially coming from her NU days.
Makita mo yung alertness. So earlier you mentioned kung meron ba siyang jitter sa pagiging starters, but this point right here actually shows how she's very much into the game, no?
And a welcome addition needed, really. The energy, of course, of her quote-unquote youth. Gia Tubasa again! Feels down the line.
It's a great advantage there by Basa. As they go to the first technical timeout, CREAMLINE is up 3 points. This is 8-5.
Premier Volleyball League, the heart of volleyball. Can switch to single postpaid for more super loaded bonding moments. Get free 3 months and more when you subscribe today. Call 8888-5555 now. Again, the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers leading now just by 2 points.
Ganda na naging atake doon ni Villarreal. And we were discussing off-air how Army is really in need of steady middles, especially going up against a team na ang ganda ng performance ng mga middles as we saw the emergence of Celine Domingo as an MVP. And, you know, even Panaga has been scoring 10 points and 9 points in their back-to-back games. So, ang laki ng contribution ng middles nila. So, we really expect itong Army to stay at par with that level of middle game.
Outside. And too strong. The point will be awarded to the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers after a good serve by Eliza Valdez. Other team, United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers calling for a block touch.
First challenge of the day. But Denisino, regardless of the result of this challenge, it's a good sign that Ivy has been going more to their middles, diba? Back-to-back sets yun. The first one, Villarreal managed to kill, but the second one, they're calling a challenge for. But that's a good sign for them to create this separation among the blockers of CREAMLINE in their, you know, other rallies moving forward.
And it is a block touch. No, it isn't. Not a successful one. But again,
Paangat, oo, paangat talaga yung palo. Not even the nail.
as the point will be awarded to the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. Another serve by Eliza Valdez. Paran! A block there by said Domingo.
But that ball's gonna sail out and Army is gonna get that point against CREAMLINE. That was a great swing. Ang taas nung reach doon ni Celine Domingo. But pag tumatama yan sa may elbow na part, compared to kapag sa palad mo tumama, mas may control eh. Pag sa elbow, may tendency talaga na hindi mo kontrolado yung talsik.
That's a great combination play there. Again, in the favor of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. I think that was too strong of an attack from Condota.
Coach Kung Fu will call another challenge here, this time around for net touch.
Wow, well, not really back-to-back challenges, but just in between one point. But we can see, I guess, a more steady performance from the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. But let's see if this time around, if it will be a successful challenge. The score right now is 10-7 in favor of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers.
You can really see the sense of urgency from Army, really calling on these challenges at this early part of the game. Dahil I guess now's the perfect time also kasi dikitan pa. But hopefully they get this one para kung magkaroon man ng situation at the end game banda, eh meron pa silang maitatawag na challenge.
Again, the challenge is a net touch. Not successful.
That only means ubos na ang challenge ng Army. They are gonna lose both those two challenges called for being unsuccessful. So they really have to stay close to CREAMLINE. Dahil mamaya wala na silang challenges or even pang momentum break para sa CREAMLINE. Kasi you know, itong mga challenges na to, minsan para sa call, but minsan pag ubos na yung timeout ng coaches, they also use this to break the momentum of the opponents. Army Lady Troopers are stunned. That was another communication error on their side. Naiangat yung bola pero no one attempted for the second ball.
Said Domingo is again on the starting line. It's 12, serving 7, 5 points. The Creamline Pool Smashers slowly inching away. But as you can see, there's just 1 point ahead of the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers when it comes to attack points. But Creamline Pool Smashers, as you mentioned, Mela, they're really scoring off the mistakes. You know, a lot of unforced errors that the Army Lady Troopers are committing this early on.
And you know, in my opinion, when you're going up against CREAMLINE, you have to really limit your errors. Kasi sa CREAMLINE, sila na talaga yung gagawa ng punto sila. Ang dami nilang weapons. So you'd want to limit the free points that you give them because they generate a lot already, di ba? But that's not exactly what's happening here for Army.
Jeanette Villarreal serving. 8, serving 13. And a poor reception there from Valdez, but a good serve from Jeanette Villarreal.
This is already the second ace of Army, one courtesy of Laura Condota, and this time around it's Villarreal.
Better reception from the Creamline Pool Smashers.
Great check and great scoop there.
Condota, but Panaga was there. She is there again. Back-to-back block there from Panaga to score that point for the Creamline Pool Smashers.
It's a lack of control happening here on the side of Army dahil nare-recover nila yung bola but it's really a matter of really having that responsibility na okay ako na dahil yung bolang na-save na yun ni Esguerra, kaya pang abutin yun ni Ivy Perez.
For attack there from Ivy Perez.
That was actually a good decision. No? She had the right intention,
yes,
but her elbows were medyo nakababa yung kanyang elbow as we see this substitution by Coach Kung Fu. Gonzalez in for Ivy Perez.
And let's see, you know, if this will be able to at least end the losing streak for the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. They do need it. Gonzalez setting it up for Condota. Another too strong of a hit from the reinforcement of the United Auctioneers.
You know, Condota had really been struggling so far for Army. But right now, the Creamline is going to head to the second technical timeout, 16-9.
On your screens is Colonel John Oliver F. Gabon. He is the director for the Special Services Center, IMCOM-BA, with his wife, Ma'am Brianne Gabon, enjoying the matchup this afternoon. Again, this is just the first game, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Creamline Cool Smashers versus the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. Creamline Cool Smashers leading 16-9. Attack point between both teams tied at 5-5. But we mentioned that it's the unforced errors right now that's hurting the Army Lady Troopers. Gonzalez will be giving a free ball. Gia setting it up for Basa. And the point, again, will be awarded to the girls in pink.
But the offense of Creamline really runs smoothly by Gia Morado de Guzman. Talagang feeding everyone. We've seen some glimpse from Sed Domingo, Gemma Galanza, even Pangs Managa have been getting sets. And that time around, that last point was courtesy of Yellow Basa. And they aren't even doing combination plays anymore. It's just really the delays that Gia gets to pull from the blockers of Army. But this time, it's gonna force another substitution on the side of Army Lady Troopers. Bautista in for Audrey Paran. After that, Gia de Guzman ace.
Another great serve there by Gia Gonzalez. Kyla was there. Gia setting it up for Gemma Galanza.
And look at how easy the points come for CREAMLINE.
And that needs to be remedied by the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers.
This time, Laura, take the position 3 again. Okay. Play 2 tayo, okay? Play 2, job. Huwag kalanganin, doon ka na sa backline. Yan. Now, if out of system, out. Pwede ka mag-run or 3, ha? Out of system. Pag hindi na kaya, si Job ulit doon sa kabila, okay?
Yes, coach.
I-timing mo lang yung drop ball, sayang. Isa na tayo magkapasa na, wala pa. Let's go.
First set, and already the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers are leading by 10 points. We've seen quite a lot of unforced errors in the side of the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. Gia de Guzman will be serving. And we're hoping that timeout from the Army Lady Troopers will be able to work. Apparently not. The streak will be still in favor of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers.
I think pang-apat na ace na yun ng CREAMLINE. And I think one of their takeaways also from that F2 game, doon talaga rin sila tinake advantage ng F2 sa blockings at saka sa service aces. So now they're strengthening that area as well, because it's very evident that you can win games on the first line of offense like the service.
Vargas is in. Substitution happened. Great reception we're seeing here from the Army Lady Troopers. Condota with the touch. Gia setting up for Panaga. Slowing down the pace. Condota with a soft touch, but again, not sure if that was Panaga or Basa. Too quick for me to tell. But I think by the smile that is on her face, that's a block by Panaga. As we look at that replay.
Net touch.
Oh, it's a net touch?
Yes, so nabitinan yung palo na yun, and it's gonna result in that net violation. Pero susubukan bumawi. Great defense by Nunag.
Gonzaga. De Guzman to Basa. Nunag will be setting up for Jovelyn Gonzaga. Cross court. Vargas was there. Basa working it off the blocks of the Army Lady Troopers. For the first time, we're seeing a long rally here in set 1. That ends by a strong attack by Basa. The point will be awarded to the Army Lady Troopers, much to their joy.
And the defense paying off for the Army Lady Troopers. Ang dami naging magagandang touches in that rally, and even their block touches was very present as Esguerra is anchoring their net defense in the front line.
Jovelyn Gonzaga. Yes. 4 touches. Another error. This is really hurting the team.
Definitely. Dahil kanina, nung nagsisimula yung game, 2-point disparity lang. But now, it has ballooned to a 10-point lead by CREAMLINE.
21-11. Gemma Galanza serving. Vargas on your screens. Gonzalez to Condota. Gia will be setting it up. Oh, that was Kyla to Basa. Oh, no follow-up there from Esguerra.
Another substitution here for Army. Talagang si Coach Kung Fu is trying on his weapons, and really hoping to see someone stepping up sa mga balang sinusubukan niya dito para sa Army.
Oh, the miscommunication. No one was there to receive the ball.
And again, yun nga yung ibabalik natin sa interview ni Gia, na parang pag may humawak na ng bola, responsibility kung paano itatawid yan, nandun na talaga sa taong kasunod mo. Pero ilang beses na natin nakita yung transition na error in this set alone for Army. So we really have to work on that communication and taking responsibility on defense.
This time around, Basa saw the empty space at the back. Calculative attack there from the CREAMLINE Full Smashers.
You know, aside from the empty space, pati yung gap in between the blockers nandun din.
Gemma Galanza again in the service line. Bota trying, working off that two-man block from Panaga and I think Gemma.
And that was Vargas in the front line.
Vargas rather. Now we're here at set point, 24-12. 12 points leading the CREAMLINE Full Smashers.
Oh, pero babawi agad si Vargas. She was injected in the game to replace Eliza Valdez, and she makes use of the opportunity and gets CREAMLINE the first set against Army, 25-12.
And we're back here at the Premier Volleyball League. The CREAMLINE Cool Smashers leading this game with one set, 25-12. I think, if anything, the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers again just proving their premierness, against United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. They scored off a lot of the unforced errors from the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers, and again proving the system, the well-run system of Coach Sherwin.
And, they really banked on a lot of people to contribute for that set one win. And Panaga already with, I believe, 3 points. Basa meron ng 6 points. Galanza with 4 points. So it's been a total team effort, and they've also been getting a lot of points from their service aces. As you can see, 6 compared to 2 of Army in that department. But look at the attacks. 11 compared to just 6 of the UAI Army Lady Troopers, and 7 free points given also by the Army Lady Troopers to CREAMLINE. So safe to say that was an easy set number 1 win. And right now on the floor we can see some new faces injected in by Coach Sherwin. Sato is on the floor now. They are gonna need all the experience for everyone also, especially we are approaching the semifinals in just a few weeks' time.
On your screens, Gonzalez, who has subbed in for Ivy Perez. And let's see if the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers will be able to bounce back here in set 2. I'm sure their fans would want that. Gondota with a cross-court attack. Gia to Gemma. Jovelyn Gonzaga, but Gia was there. Kyla Tubasa with a soft touch.
Oh, finally. An emphatic kill by Laura Condota. Early on, pag may nakatapat na double block sa kanya, she'd either go outside or not over. But this time around, going past beyond the block of Elise Basa. Oo.
I think this is what Coach Kofu would like, more smart plays from, from the squad.
Did you see that no-look spike by Jeva Galanza?
Oh, and that quick attack by Risa Sato.
But we also have to credit itong si Jane Gonzalez by defending that clean hit from that combination play. Pero itong binilisan lalo ni Gia, binigay sa quick, hindi na nakuha.
Gemma Galanza with 3 points, 1 attack, 2 aces, a service error. We're tied here at 1-1.
That was a high risk, high reward kind of serve. He's been getting aces, no? And talagang minsan kapag kinakargahan, there's a tendency na bumaba yung clearance at dumiretso sa net.
Atienza will be setting it to Basa. Jovelyn to Gonzalez, and back to Jovelyn. Great follow-up there by Atienza after the block by Valdez. Back set to Gonzaga. Risa with that quick reception. Another long rally here in set 2. Gemma Galanza.
The lines judge are gonna call out, but first referee said there was a block touch on that pipe hit. But you gotta commend itong UAI Army for putting in the effort dahil napapansin natin mas mahaba na yung mga rallies.
And what volleyball fan does not love that?
Yung may drama sa mga rallies. Pero ito, walang karally-rally doon. One stop at the top by Elise Basa.
Look at that. She just towered over everyone.
She didn't even have to do a full swing on that. Easy point.
Bautista with a cross-court attack. A free ball is given. Gonzalez to Gonzaga. Guzman this time around to Basa again. Back-to-back points for the reinforcement of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers as we head to Franny Reyes for her courtside report. Franny?
Of course, both teams are coming off of losses, so I asked them what they think they need to improve on to win today's match. Kyla Atienza of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers told me it's about improving defense, reception, blocking, and communication. And kita naman dun sa first set, and right now they're leading even. Now on the Army side of things, I talked to Ivy Perez, who told me it's really about consistency, lessening those errors, and communication. We're seeing a frustrated Army right now, but if they're able to improve on those things, if they're able to focus on their game and enjoy, maybe this will turn in their favor. Let's head back to the game.
Speaking of that consistency, Basa with 3 consecutive points awarded to CREAMLINE Cool Smashers, courtesy of her, and the streak continues. It seems like CREAMLINE Cool Smashers, from what Franny reported, they're the ones that you're seeing having fun. The system, the consistency, all 3 seems to tick off in the boxes for the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers.
And they're really playing less tensed compared to the Army Lady Troopers. Basic defense, and they just really try to set off very well to their spikers. And regardless, no, kung mapapansin nyo, kahit sino yung mag-set para sa CREAMLINE, whether that's Gia, whether that's si Gemma or si Kyla, talagang they're putting in the time para pabagalan yung angat ng bola, yung pagdating ng bola dun sa spikers. And there's a challenge that's gonna be called here by CREAMLINE on a block touch from that last hit.
This is the first challenge by the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. We saw a replay a while ago. A block touch. Let's see if this will be awarded to the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers, who are leading again for set 2. We saw early on in set 2 that they managed to keep the scores between both teams close. But the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers slowly pulling away. And if they do win this challenge, it's another step closer, of course, for them to reach our first technical timeout with them in the lead. Again, the score is 6-2. CREAMLINE Cool Smashers leading.
Kind of like how the first set started as well, diba? Ganito rin yung mga score doon. As we see this challenge call on block touch.
And it is a successful challenge for the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers, leading them to 1 point away from a technical timeout with them in the lead. 7 serving 2. That was Risa Sato serving. Gonzalez to Condota. Risa was there. De Guzman to Eliza Valdez. Bautista with that attack. Gia again to Basa. The reinforcement of the UI Army. Basa again. She attacked in that same spot earlier in set 1.
She didn't get it at the first go, but made sure she smashed it on that second one, as that point leads CREAMLINE to the first technical timeout, 8-2.
And what a time to be a sports fan. Watch and support our Gilas Pilipinas live in the 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023. Follow My Team Pass Philippines is now available to give you access to all 5 Gilas Pilipinas games in the preliminary round. Now, you can purchase your tickets via register.worldcup.basketball, #WinForAll. CREAMLINE Cool Smashers leading 8-3, but it is the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers serving. That was Jeanette Villarreal. Sadly, with a service error.
No, they're not really gonna need these errors. They've proven it in the first set na those errors are really big burden to them dahil it cuts their momentum and at the same time gives CREAMLINE more confidence to make streak of points, as Neri Bautista finally getting a point courtesy of that down the line hit. No one was there on the side of CREAMLINE. Gemma Galanza trying to sweep to zone 1, but unable to.
Evelyn Gonzaga serving. Gia to Eliza Valdez. Too strong.
Lack of wrist action there. But earlier we mentioned parang hindi gumagamit ng combination plays itong CREAMLINE. Seems like they heard us. Dahil after that, they've been doing a series of combination plays.
Evelyn Gonzaga with 2 attacks. Back-to-back points for the Army Lady Troopers. This time on the errors of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. They're sticking close. CREAMLINE maintaining a 3-point lead this time around. Gia to Sed Domingo. Gonzalez giving it to Condota, who'll be giving a free ball. Oh, Sed, bumawi.
Again, medyo nagkalituhan na naman kung sino kukuha ng third ball doon para sa Army, and we can see the frustration of Coach Kung Fu on that one.
And again, here's one of our PVL asks. Sinong awesome duo from CREAMLINE or Army ang magpapanalo sa laro? Again, don't forget, guys, to tweet us your answers. Hashtag PVL asks. And tag us, of course, on all of our social media pages.
Yes, more entries para mas marami tayong mabasa dito. And right now, I guess, for us, sa'yo ba? Denise, sino ba yung duo so far na tingin mo magpapanalo dito sa either teams na naglalaro ngayon?
Parang ako yun na on the spot,
Unahan na kita, parang naramdaman ka na.
Well, I guess for the Creamline Pool Smashers, the duo will always be Gia, and I guess this time around, she has a whole array of attackers to choose from. That's the beauty and the privilege that she has for the Creamline Pool Smashers. So I guess I'm gonna be safe there and say that let Gia pick her duo. But I guess for the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers, Gonzalez hopefully will also have a stable partner. One that they could always run to. I guess it will always be Gonzalez and Gonzaga.
Well, for me naman on the side of Army, maganda rin yung pinapakita nito ni Nene Bautista. So I'd pick the veteran duo in Bautista and Gonzaga, as we saw Laura Condota with that powerful kill. Medyo nagkaroon ng bit of swipe from the block of Sato, and then eventually hitting the head of Gemma Galanza, but a huge display of sportsmanship between Condota and Gemma.
At that point will lead only to a 2-point lead from the Creamline Pool Smashers. Humahabol ngayon ang United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. Oh, Gemma Galanza with an attack of her own. A really brave one, despite that block, the double man block of the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. Look there.
Babawi at ang ganda nung naging swing niya talaga. And yung lakas ng palo ni Gemma plus the impact from that full swing. Ang taas talaga ng porsyento, but on the side of Army naman, you can see the veteran Ging Bounce and Babayo making an instant impact for the Army Lady Troopers. If there's anything they need a boost of confidence, a boost of leadership, and someone who's gonna walk the talk, diba, in terms of leadership. And right away, she scores for her team.
Gia setting it up for Basa. That leadership also very much present in the reinforcement, of the Creamline Pool Smashers.
No, there seems to be a lot of hugot, kung alam man yan ni Elise Basa. Diba? And I guess it can also boil down to their preparation. Sabi nga natin na, after coming from a loss, they really want to get more and more confidence from their remaining games here in the elims as they're assured of a semi-spot. Dahil with all the games outside this one that we're witnessing now, ang dami ring nangyari. May mga nanalo from the bottom-ranked teams, may mga natalo from mga nandun sa top 4 teams. So, mas naging exciting ang ating liga ngayon, and we're definitely guaranteed a much exciting semi-finals round. Kaya naman itong Creamline with their assurance in the semis, talagang naghahanda na dito as we saw another Basa off the block hit.
They're finding a way to make it work despite the blocks of the Army Lady Troopers. Gemma Galanza still serving. Against 15-10. Look at that.
Oh.
The unforced errors.
Great acknowledgement there from Jovelyn Gonzaga using the hands of Risa Sato and the combination play of their own. Nakita niya malayo yung gap between the arms of Sato at yung net. So kahit may tumalon na blocker sa harap niya, doon niya pa rin pinalo.
But a service error will lead us to our second technical timeout with the Creamline Pool Smashers leading 16-11. And we're here at set 2, the Creamline Pool Smashers leading the second technical timeout, 16 to 11. Exciting matchup here, I guess, for this weekend, today's doubleheader. The United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers, we're looking for that consistency on their end. Brought to you by Bingo Plus, the first live streaming bingo in the Philippines. We can see, of course, the fans really putting all-out support for their teams. You can see here.
Parang sa school pa ginawa yung cartolina, ano na yun, banner na yun.
Again, you know, volleyball really, it's not the same without the fans. They are the heart and soul of the sport. Of course, aside from the players themselves, bringing the action here in the big dome. Gia to Eliza for a free ball. Gonzalez to Gonzaga. Off blocks.
And again, defense face up for Army. Face off rather. And ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, no? Wala si Royce Tubino, their main scorer, and it seems like Gonzaga's gonna be pushed to produce the points on her behalf, and that's exactly what's happening now. Kanina pa yan pumupuntos. And also, itong si Bautista. So I guess the duo that I mentioned earlier, the veteran duo in Gonzaga and Bautista, finally stepping up for the UAI Army Lady Troopers as they stay close in this set. Closer than the first set, no?
Definitely.
Kasi by this point, naiwan na sila kanina nung first set.
And speaking of close, look at the attack points. Just 10 attack points for Creamline for this set. And Army Lady Troopers with 9. A 3-point lead from the Creamline Pool Smashers. We're seeing longer rallies here in set 2. Gemma Galanza, free ball. Gonzaga giving it to Malaluan. De Guzman to Eliza Valdez.
And you know, any delay on the block against Creamline, any spiker of this team would take advantage. Talaga namang binilisan doon yung set kay Valdez. And with Lut Malaluan being late for that block, Eliza Valdez is really smashing it for that point. Right now they have a 4-point lead here as we saw a substitution on the side of Creamline. Negrito in and Carlos, familiar double sub we used to see. So now Creamline has a full front line with 3 MVPs in the front row. How about that?
And Tots Carlos is seeing action for the very first time in today's game. You can just imagine the confidence Coach Sher has in his bench. Na alam niya kung sino man pipiliin niya, they will be able to deliver.
And you still have Michelle Gumabaw on your second unit. Kanina ang ganda rin ang pinakitang defense and offense ni Rose Vargas.
Gonzaga, this time around, bantay na ni Eliza Valdez in that corner.
No coverage there. At nahuli itong si Bautista. Nandun sa may net banda. So, no coverage there for Jovelyn Gonzaga. And the Army is gonna call for a timeout.
Take the first ball or not. Just ready for the back row attack, okay? That's for you, okay? Ngayon, may pumapalo naman sa harap. Yung coverage naman natin, i-press naman natin na maayos. Tapos ikaw na wala kang tulong dito. At engage ka. Para once na ma-recover, Laura will take the 5. Okay? Even if you're not
Isang ikot.
take the ball, ready for 5.
Isang ikot. UAI! Army!
A 5-point lead here from the Creamline Pool Smashers. UAR Army trying to catch up.
And sabi nga ni Coach kung may umaatake na eh. So finally, they are generating their own points as we saw how close the stats are when it comes to attacks. Pero yung coverage kailangan nandun. And I guess the last thing you want is for Jovelyn Gonzaga to be established as a mark man. So kailangan pa nila ng more options, diba? But this time around, Jovelyn Gonzaga showing us why she is the best option right now for the Army Lady Troopers. Ang nipis nung palo na yon at yan ang mahirap pag tatapanan mo kaliwete talaga. They have a lot of angles to go to. And double sub is also going to be called here for Army.
De Los Reyes is in as well as Ivy Perez. She's serving for her squad. 14, serving 18. Negrito to Carlos. Double touch there. An error on the side of Cal Negrito. So Ivy again will be serving for her squad. Slowly catching up to the Creamline Pool Smashers. 15, serving 18. Negrito to Tots, Carlos. Bautista with a soft touch. Negrito was there though. And Laura, following what Coach Kung Fu said about really keeping the back row guarded. But the Creamline will be scoring on that one.
Again, another error on the side of Army. Actually, for a time na tigil na tong error no? Kung makapuntos man ng Creamline, it's really because of their point, not because of Army's error. Pero on Creamline's 19-point, given na naman yan by Army.
Ooh, De Los Reyes off the hands of Seth Domingo. She'll get her first point in this match.
Pure wrist action there for De Los Reyes, and it works magic for UAI Army Lady Troopers. Not the strongest of hit, makita mo talaga. Tinapik lang, pero yung timing ni Celine on that block, pababa na siya. So, dumulas. Pero, ito, ang ganda na naging timing ni Negrito doon. She wasn't able to get the touch on that overball. But, wrong anticipation by Luth Malaluan. Hindi napayungan yung bola.
And here on the sides, you can see, feel, hear the frustration of Coach Kung Fu. Oh, but a quick attack again by De Los Reyes.
Quality minutes being shown to us by De Los Reyes. And this time around, coming off from the middle area. Kanina open hit yun, but you know, in Army, if there's one thing you can notice also, a lot of their players have played multiple positions as well. So itong si De Los Reyes, minsan open, minsan opposite, minsan middle. The same as Balse, di ba? She's played all the positions na yata as a spiker.
Audrey Paran is back on the court. Oh, a quick attack. I think by the sound of that cheer, that's Risa Sato. Let's look at that replay once again. Negrito to Risa.
That was actually sailing out. No touch even from the blockers, but
off the hands of Perez.
Perez. So they got that point.
It's 21-17. Gia de Guzman serving for the Creamline Pool Smashers. 5-point lead there for the pink squad. Nunag with the reception to Laura. A triple block. Another timeout will be asked by the UAI Army as you look really at the defense of the Creamline Pool Smashers.
Wala na sa tono yung nangyayari natin. Pero intention natin yung atake sa kita. Okay naman yung ulitin mo lang. Pero make sure ang bola natin nasa position 3 para hindi masyado malaro kay Laura. Same play.
Okay.
That one is out of system. Masyado na malayo. Okay? So take it. If out of system, outside. Okay? If you have a good pass, continue for play 2. Okay? Time mo na lang. Ha? Tara, isang bola.
UAI! Army! Isang ikot!
Coach Kung Fu is saying that they're out of tune. And when you're going against a team like the Creamline Pool Smashers that is very much in sync with each other, you have to be on your toes. Whoa. Again, the double blocking by the Creamline Pool Smashers, leading them to 23-17. Look at that again. Perez serving it to De Los Reyes this time around. Gemma and Risa was there. That was very much expected from them.
And also quality minutes from Sato. And that's the beauty also of this Creamline lineup. No matter who you pull from your bench, talagang nagde-deliver.
Perez to Laura. Gia to Gemma.
Easy point for Gemma Galanza. They are now at set point here. Not her strongest of hits as well, pero that was an easy point for Gemma Galanza. Using the hands of the blockers with her smart attack. You know, if you're any opponent going up against Creamline, you can beat them by just having one player activated because you're not going up against just one player sa kanilang koponan. You're going up against a very well-established system. So you really have to keep your system intact when you're going up against Creamline.
But the UAI Army will be staying alive. So far, still the Creamline Cool Smashers are in set point. Can Jovelyn Gonzaga lead her team to a win for set 2? Or will the Creamline Cool Smashers again be able to clinch this second set? Gia to Laura, down the line, and of course a no-brainer.
Easy point there. At maririnig mo talaga yung tunog kung gaano kalakas yung palo na yon. Si Liz Basa scores another point to seal off this second set win for the Creamline Cool Smashers.
And we finally enter set 3. Creamline Cool Smashers leading 2-0 against the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. But this time around, at least, we can see that the Army Lady Troopers, at least the gap isn't so big as we look at some of the highlights from set 2. It was De Los Reyes last minute bunot from Coach Kung Fu contributing to her squad. But again, I guess it's the consistency of the Creamline Cool Smashers and really Coach Cher running a well-oiled team, leading them to a very comfortable lead in set 2 as well.
And so far for Elise Basa, she's definitely unstoppable in this game. She's currently with 13 points as of now, followed by Galanza 6 and Valdez 4 points. On the other hand naman, ito nga si Bautista at si Jovelyn Gonzaga, the duo we mentioned earlier that has been stepping up for Army. Ang ganda rin na naging contribution with 5 points apiece and hindi nga magkakalayo yan when it comes to attacks. 13 attacks for Army and 14 for Creamline, but the blocking of Creamline, early on it was their aces that have been the determining factor for that set 1 win, but this time around, the difference maker for Creamline is their blockings. Plus, of course, these very timely errors that the UAI Army committed. You know, 8 compared to 4 errors of Creamline, and you know, those errors happened during the time when they were building momentum. So, eventually, nawala na lang yung mga pagdikit at paghabol nila sa Creamline, although they were able to stay close better in this set compared to the first set. So, let's see if things continue to improve on the side of Army here in the third set.
It's crazy, I guess. Like, you can see the, as you mentioned, Bella, errors of the UAI Army, they did not manage to minimize it for set 2. In fact, it was raised by, you know, one more error. They had 7 errors for set 1, 8 errors for set 2. Meanwhile, Creamline Cool Smashers were able to keep their errors just at 4 for both set 1 and set 2.
And it's not actually as bad as the other errors from per team per set, no? Kasi may iba sumusobra ng 10, but I guess for those teams, they're able to compensate for that through the points that they generate, and that's what had been lacking also for Army. But on the side of Creamline naman, they are very comfortable with how everyone has been playing, and now Coach Sherwin is comfortable enough to put out team captain Eliza Valdez out of the game, get some rest, and injected itong si Rose Vargas on her behalf. Panagas also back in the game for Risa Sato. That was also a good set for Sato. She got a couple of blocks and mga spikes also.
As we encounter, I guess we're still finalizing the final lineup. It's the starting 6, but now it's been all good. We can start with set 3. As Gonzalez serves. Gia to Basa. Ooh, again. She's getting the hang of making her attacks work despite the blocking of Gonzaga and Balse. The reinforcement of the Creamline Cool Smashers really proving to be quite effective.
On the other hand, itong si Condota had been struggling the whole game. But this time around, she's gonna get that point. The first referee countering the call of the line judge. I guess he saw it better. So Laura Condota is gonna get that point. She currently has 5 points as well, together with Bautista and Gonzaga.
Oh, Vargas!
Did you hear the sound of her spike? A former UAAP best attacker, and it seems like she hasn't aged a bit, still as efficient as she is during her prime.
Just really maximizing the time she is on the court, delivering those attacks. Laura finally getting, of course, a redemption point for that.
Laura Condota also being smart on using Celine Domingo on her angle. It's a tough call actually to choose between Basa and the reigning MVP of the Invitational Conference in Ced Domingo, as she has vastly improved in her blockings. Pero she had more chances there sa pagpapatama kay Celine Domingo, and this is now their second consecutive point. And this is the first time that Army has gotten the lead over Creamline. We are at 3-2.
King Balse serving. Gia to Ced Domingo. Back-to-back points for the UAI Army Lady Troopers as we go to Franny Reyes. Franny?
Here's a little trivia from Eliza Valdez. Their game versus F2 was actually the first time that they were leading, winning the first 2 sets, and we all saw what happened there. So Eliza told me that you can never discredit the teams you play against. The eagerness to finish was what was missing or what was lacking during that game, and it's what they intend to have in today's game. They intend to play composed and take it 1 point at a time. And let's see if Creamline will be able to get their first 3-set win. Back to the panel.
A long rally that we're seeing. Oh, Vargas tries to end that, but Ging Balse was there. Gia again to Vargas. Oh. This time around, let's see who will be able to end. You can even hear the fans cheering.
It's the most entertaining rally so far, and it goes to the UAI Army Lady Troopers.
As they enjoy for the very first time a 2-point lead.
Well, kanina kasi may mga long rallies, pero ito sabi ko nga, the most entertaining rally of the game so far. Kasi yung mga imposible na ma-save or masundot, nasi-save pa nila. And yun nga, mapupunta na naman. I think this is the second long rally that went to Army. So we saw this great dig courtesy of Jovelyn Gonzaga. And yet another store from Laura Condota. We mentioned how much she's been struggling the whole game. And it seems like this third set, she's finally found her groove and she's been scoring majority of the points for Army.
Now the question is, can the UAI Army Lady Troopers continue this momentum? Condota again. Oh, there she is, really proving to be a strong reinforcement for the UAI just when they really need her the most.
Grabe naman din yung dinepensahan ni Jovelyn Gonzaga na quick attack at dinepensahan niya ng isang kamay. At sakto pa rin doon sa setter's box. So, she mentioned as well in her interview na in moments na hindi siya makakontribute masyado sa score, binabawi niya yan sa depensa as she's currently our top 10 best digger. But this time, we're seeing the more familiar Jovelyn Gonzaga kind of play, offense to defense. Pero si Condota rin has been very consistent as well in scoring for Army as they go for the first time to the first technical timeout, 8-3.
And for the first time in this game, it's the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers that are leading with 5 points, 8-3, as the biggest basketball event in 2023 is coming to the Philippines. Now you can purchase your FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 Ultimate Finals Fan Pass and get access to the much-anticipated FIBA World Cup 2023 Championship game, along with the battle for third place game, semifinals, and quarterfinals games. Visit register.worldcup.basketball for more details. #WinForAll. And finally, the UAI Army has caught up, but from that timeout, for sure the CREAMLINE Smashers would not allow, the streak of the UAI Army to continue.
But the athleticism of Celine Domingo just really towering above her blockers. And her connection with Gia de Guzman has really been so fun to watch.
Gia to Gemma.
Kita mo ba yung ipit na yun ni Gia de Guzman? Until the last second, you wouldn't know she was gonna give it to Gemma Galanza. And look at the blockers. Talagang napakagat din noong quick approach nitong ni Celine Domingo. Buti na lang, malapit lang yung atake ni Gemma pero naibabawan pa din. But meantime, Rose Vargas with that service error as they're catching up 5-9 here against Army. Laura Condota going up against CREAMLINE in the third set. 5 points now at 9 points. And I guess now's the perfect time also to ask again our fans dito sa ating question from Rachel Andake. Sinong awesome duo from CREAMLINE or Army ang magpapanalo sa laro? So just keep on sending your tweets. Use the hashtag PVL asks. And ito nga babasahin natin ng ilan sa mga kasagutan ng ating PVL fans on Twitter from @CesAdarne. Si Gia and Sed po, as always naman sila talaga pumapatay ng CCS or para sa CCS. Good luck CREAMLINE, bounce back.
And here from @FN_the best. I can't choose one, same as us, but Gia and Eliza or Sed or Yellow. Basta Gia have good connection in the spikers, especially her connection with Sed Domingo is on point. That's been very much evident in the game today. And lastly, from Cristel1105, Ali and Gia magpapanalo. Yung connection nila di makakaila since UAAP days. And definitely no one is denying their connection. That's really been since their Ateneo days.
Unfortunately, si Eliza po ay nagpapahinga at nagpapa-fresh muna sa bench as Rose Vargas is playing on the floor right now.
A fake there by Basa. Gia this time with an attack of her own, and she scores.
Her first 1-2 play in this game, and it works well for their team.
Cutting the lead of the UAI Army to just 3 now from 5 a while ago. Gonzalez rather, to Balse. Gia will be giving it to Basa. On what could have been a down-the-line attack, but too strong outside.
It's very hard to defend against the reinforcement, lalo na kung yung mga set ay kasing bibilis ng mga set ni Gia. Kasi the libero or anyone defending in zone 1 will be transitioning from a different defense pattern going to the line, no? So, mahirap yun yung didepensa ka ng sobrang lakas. Pero, after that outside call by the line judge, CREAMLINE is gonna call for a challenge. And see if they're gonna get a point here. Inside nga ba? Or outside? Yung last attack na yun from Yellow Basa.
And this is their second challenge. Just to give a recap, the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers have finished off their challenges in set 1. Both challenges by the Blue Squad were called unsuccessful by the refs and were called in the favor of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. Now let's see if the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers can continue with their streak. Their first challenge was successful this time around. So the block touch is a no.
So the call of the line judge is gonna stand outside yung palo, walang block touch. So it's an unsuccessful challenge for CREAMLINE.
The UAI Army will still have their 4-point lead against the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. But this time around, Gemma making sure she scores off the block. No need for challenges.
So, finally, dahil kanina tinry nila yung combination play, it was well defended on the floor by Jane Gonzalez. But now, Gemma Galanza got her 8th point already, courtesy of that combi play.
Gonzalez to Balse.
That was actually Bautista. Pero ang ganda ng mga nagiging performance dito ng mga Army veterans. And really finding that gap in between the blockers. It was a fadeaway block kasi for both Rose Vargas and Pangs Panaga. And again, another good defense by Jane Gonzalez.
I love her reaction afterwards.
Siyempre, that must have felt good, no?
She raised her hands up high to that one as for the first time it's the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers who will be calling a timeout for this set.
One stop muna ulit, isa-isa lang. Pagka medyo alanganin ng Basa, kayang i-combination. Gemma, ituloy mo. Pagka Rose, nagtitress ba siya? O sige, go. Pero pagka wala, reaction agad. O, isa-isa lang. Medyo tibay tayo sa block. Kamayin natin ng konti. Ha? Let's go. Hey, CREAMLINE!
Come on.
And this is what Franny mentioned in her report that Coach Sher just wants, of course, the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers to just play one step at a time, 1 point at a time. As finally, the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers, on the other hand, have seemed to find their groove. They're enjoying a lead, something that they haven't been able to do so in the first 2 sets. It's Nene Bautista serving 6 points. But unfortunately, the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers will get that score.
Lack of communication between the two veterans of Army. Still a comfortable lead 13-9.
Joe Gonzaga, a soft touch, finding it right there, the sweet spot in the middle.
They've actually been getting a lot of points on that side already. So they finally identified a, what do you call this? Yung butas ng defense, the donut hole, kumbaga, doon sa defense ng Creamline.
Gia to send. Bautista was there. Condota this time around. But Basa and Domingo with that double block. Very firm that it was hard for Condota to get in between.
Kanina sabi nga natin, mahirap talagang mamili between Domingo and Basa kung kanina mo padadaanin. So more so pag sa gitna ka pa nila, nag-try dumaan, no? Sarado talaga. But on your screens, you can see MG already on the floor for the first time here at the game. And itong si Negrito will be serving. They're trailing by 4 here against Army.
Good serve by Kyle Negrito. Condota to Gonzaga. Set was there. Gonzaga again off the reception of Negrito.
Angle works well for John Gonzaga. And itong si Negrito, medyo out of position kasi she was facing yung net. Kumbaga, hindi yung spiker ang tinapatan niya. So, out of position to defend that ball. But let's see how they try to make up for that point. That was an easy point from Gumabaw. Hindi niya na rin tinalunan yung set na yun kasi it's a bit awkward or, you know, it was a tough set of system play. So far yun talaga yung errors at yung communication lapses for Army.
Oh. But Condota getting the hang of it as, again, the UAI Army will be leading here in our second technical timeout, 16-11. Now, from the FIBA World Cup to the NBA, if you've got 300 pesos, you can enjoy the NBA TV Philippines. Now more affordable at Signal Postpaid Plan 290 or Prepaid Load 300. You can watch all the action, and that is extended until December 31, 2022. Speaking of extended, the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers are extending their lead here in the third set, playing with more composure, more happiness, and just less errors. 5-point lead for the Blue Squad.
And Bautista, ganda ng discard niya na yun. You know, kahit na nilabas si Yellow Basa, of course, we know that Gumabaw is also a tough blocker. One of the best during her time as well. Pero yung tandem nila ni Celine Domingo, gugulangan ito ni Nene Bautista. She went for the off-the-block hit.
Atienza setting it up for Gemma. Oh, Agno keeping the ball alive. Negrito to MG. Too strong outside. And the biggest lead so far of the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers, 7 points, 18 serving 11. Laura Condota, the reinforcement of the UAI Army on your screens right now. Grito to Gemma Galanza. Pantay ni Gonzalez and Net Villarreal.
Army Lady Troopers really responding well to the instructions given by Coach Kung Fu. And so far, they're working more as a system now dahil kanina nauna yung atake. Finally, may nag-take responsibility na in Gonzaga and Bautista. And then eventually, their floor defense was also working better with Gonzalez at itong si Nunag and now Acto on the floor.
But
Even they're blocking. So, pero ito pupunta ulit ang Creamline courtesy of Sed Domingo.
That was a quick attack, a quick set by Gia de Guzman. Forgot which fan said that, you know, the connection between Gia and Sed for this game really is exceptional. So continue to tweet us your answers to our PVL asks. Who do you think is the duo that will be able to lead their squad to a win for this afternoon's game between the CREAMLINE Pool Smashers and the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers? 13 serving 19. Said Domingo already with 8 points for today's game.
Make that 9 using the tip of the net to get a bit of help for that service ace. And Army is gonna call for a timeout as Creamline is now down by just 5 points against Army.
Okay. Ang kailangan natin ngayon, one good pass. Laura. If you get the first ball or not, ready for 5. Yes. Okay? Kahit magpa-play-to ka. Hindi, huwag ka na magpa-play-to. Patakbin mo na lang ng 8. Okay, pwede siya mag-run. Back, open si Nerissa. Tapos may atake pa rin tayo sa gitna. So ang spiker mo supposedly magiging 4 pa yan. Pero, titignan mo kung paano yung galaw ng block. Ngayon, ang pinakamaliit na blocker ngayon, si Gia. So, kay Gia ka tayo pumunta. Hatakan na natin sa
Coverage.
And this is a Jeanette Villarreal on your screens. 5-point lead by the UAI Army. San Domingo will be serving for the Creamline Pool Smashers. Good service there by Sed. Ooh, a slight touch by Pangs. Bautista off the blocks of Panaga and de Guzman.
And again, ginagamit talaga yung magiging veterano sa gitna pinapadaan at alam niya na talaga kung sinong blocker yung gagamitin, saan papadaanin. It's a good display of veteran wit here, talking about Denny Bautista. As Audrey Paran checks back in to serve for the UAI Army Lady Troopers.
20 serving 14. Gia to Basa. Oh, smart play there by Basa.
A good eye there by Elise Basa, acknowledging also that there was no libero on the court, and Tindota not able to get to that well-placed drop ball.
Gia serving. Gonzalez, Bautista.
Oh, look at that save from Gia.
Balsa rather. Asking for it at the back. Gia was there. Basa to Gemma. And a soft touch makes a sure point for the Creamline Pool Smashers.
You know, Bautista actually read that ball well, kaya lang there was also a touch by Balse. So, naiba yung direksyon ng bola. And Gemma Galanza is gonna get that point as they're down by 4 points. Kanina medyo mas malaki-laki ito, but they're slowly making a streak here.
Gia with a strong serve. Laura back row attack. Again, another score for the UAI Army, and you can see there's something more about how they move. There's, I guess, much more ease and confidence, and that comes along with maintaining this comfortable lead against the Creamline Cool Smashers.
And they're moving less stiffer now dahil nga comfortable yung lead nila eh. Comfortable enough. But Yeliz Basa is gonna try to really cut that lead. She's really been the person generating the most damage here for Creamline. Currently, she has 16 big points, followed by Domingo and Galanza with 9 points apiece. On the other hand, Condota naman 11 points. At Gonzaga and Bautista with 8 points apiece. Good save on that ball.
Wupangs Panaga!
Running hit, oo. We haven't seen that so far in this game today. Kanina yung mga puntos niya galing sa blocks, galing sa A-quick. And you know, between the spikers, Celine Domingo at itong si Pangs Managa, may advantage talaga si Pangs pagdating dyan sa mga running plays. But let's see kung towards the semis ba, makikita na natin yung ibang plays pa ng Creamline. But this time, no need for any fancy play. Yeliz Basa gets another point courtesy of that drop shot. And they are now just down by 2 points.
Out of system, anong papaluin niya? Wala. Jo, pag wala ka ng wala kang tao, ganun tumuloy, atras na. Or, look for Laura. Kasi binigay mo na doon sa 5, andun yung pinakamalaking block. Maging kayo, maging madaya ka. Situational ba? Out of system, dapat nakakreate na ng play. Jo, pag wala ng pasa, lumabas ka na dito sa kabila. Nakuha. One good pass. One good pass.
UAI! Army!
Let's see if the UAI Army will be able to get set 3, because Creamline Cool Smashers slowly but surely creeping in. 19 serving 21. Gemma Galanza.
Oh, heavy serve.
Oh, Gonzaga there. Thoughts, Carlos? A free ball is awarded by Gonzaga. Gia to Basa, but too strong outside.
And they're not gonna contest that one. You saw the frustration out from Yellow Basa. May halong gigil eh. And now Army is 3 points away from sealing this set.
Oh, that was a quick play there by both teams.
Mistimed by Panaga. Hindi niya napalo. Medyo pababa na siya when she tipped that ball over, and that was easily covered by the blockers of UAI Army. Creamline is gonna call for another timeout.
Basta kung sakasakaling bumiti, dalawang kanto lang. Pero pagka medyo dumikit yung receive yan, pwede ka mag-isa.
Okay, isang receive lang, isang receive.
Kanina, walo nga yan eh. O, isa-isayin lang natin.
Okay po.
Timing lang sa block.
Kaya yan, isa-isayin lang.
Kung susugal kayo sa block, diretso lang. Ha? Attack kayo, attack kayo.
Okay, let's go!
Hey, Creamline!
Happy!
On your screens, you can see Richard Avero and Andrea Brillantes enjoying the action.
Oo, wag din natin kalimutan
Si
si
Joric.
Joric Pexon. Oo nga naman.
The UAI Army 2 points away from set 3, but sadly a service error.
And this final stretch of the third set is really going to test the composure of both teams, the maturity as well. No room for any errors for either of the teams.
You know, the side of UAI Army, they would want to get this set 3, of course, to continue the matchup. But the Creamline Cool Smashers, pretty sure they wouldn't want to lengthen this any longer. Thoughts, Carlos! And you can hear the crowd.
Arianet the Coliseum, really roaring and obviously missing these powerful spikes from Tots Carlos. As we know, back-to-back MVP from the Open and Invitational conferences, but really seeing limited actions here in the reinforced as he's sharing the same position as the reinforcement in Yellow Basa, but always quality minutes whenever she's inside. And look at the impact as well of Yellow Basa on the open side. 21 to 23. Army still on the lead, and they're gonna call for another challenge for a net touch on either Yellow Basa or Se Domingo.
Again, they await this. It's these challenges that are able to, of course, provide both teams time to breathe, I guess. Check to see to whom will the momentum be given to. The score right now is 23-21. Army still leading. As the players await for the result of this challenge. Will the Army Lady Troopers be able to get set 3 and extend the match? Or will this be a 3-set win for the CREAMLINE Pool Smashers? Net touch, see on your screens. No net touch there. I think it's you can hear the
Unsuccessful
cheers.
challenge. Oo. This has become a more exciting game.
From a lead of 10 points, now it's just 1 point.
But all that for nothing dahil that was a costly error by Jeanette Panaga. So that error will give Army the set point for set number 3.
Oh, that was painful. Really providing. All fans are at the edges of their seats with that serve. Sadly, service error. Service by Basa. Gonzalez to Condota. And the UAI Army will be challenging that.
A good thing that there's one more challenge left after the first one being unsuccessful for the UAI Army Lady Troopers. Dahil kung wala ng challenge at mali yung call, nako, very frustrating on the side of Army. But let's see what the result of this challenge would be. The challenge is on block touch.
Now, the first challenge by the UAI Army Lady Troopers was unsuccessful. The point was awarded to the CREAMLINE Pool Smashers. Let's see if this challenge will be successful the second time around. As we look at the screens once again, they're challenging the block touch.
Oo. Parang gumalaw yung point finger na yun ni Tots Carlos. So, that only means they're gonna get this set against the CREAMLINE Pool Smashers. And we are going to an extended game here. CREAMLINE losing a set to Army. And like I mentioned, this has become an even more exciting matchup. 25-23 Army beating CREAMLINE in the third set. We'll be right back.
And we are back. It's set 4 of the first game of our weekend doubleheader between the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers and the UAI Army Lady Troopers. For the first time here in this game, the UAI Army is able to get this set 3 win after a grueling and exciting 33 minutes.
And you know, so far for Army, I think ang naging formula ay itong paggana ni Laura Condota because in the first 2 sets, she's really been struggling, diba? But during the time when she became effective for their team, good things happened to them and even went on ahead for hanggang mga, I think, 7 points, 8 points pa yung mga lamang kanina, and you can see the disparity in every department. Sa attacks, mas lumang pa rin dyan ng CREAMLINE, of course. Yellow Basa leading the charge already with 15 attack points para sa CREAMLINE and 17 total points for Yellow Basa. And itong Army also equalizing in terms of blocks. And yung errors naman ng CREAMLINE, di ba? Parang very in contrast with how the first 2 sets finished dahil kanina 4 errors lang sila, but now they had 9 errors compared to 3 of Army. So imagine, nagkabalik na talaga ng faith itong dalawang kuponan na to in that last set.
And of course, Coach Kung Fu couldn't be happier. We've been also sensing, you know, his frustrations during the timeouts. He's been repeatedly saying, of course, one good pass, that's all they need. And certainly the UAI Army Lady Troopers were able to maximize and capitalize on the good passes that they've had in set 3. Set 4, Gia de Guzman serving.
And Eliza Valdez also checking back in for CREAMLINE. Kanina medyo nag-experiment itong si Coach Sherwin, but we also have to understand that they came from that intense 5-setter against itong ang F2 where CREAMLINE experienced their first loss. So yung pagod din talaga, and of course they still trained for that. And winning the first 2 sets in this game, Coach Sherwin siguro felt the need to rest some of his star players, but now kailangan nilang manigurado and fielding in all his starters for this 4th set. We are tied at 1 point apiece.
As Gemma Galanzo serves for the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. Oh, Eliza Valdez.
Good acknowledgement there from Eliza. Hindi pinalo, nanigurado na kasi kapag regalo at binlock mo, mas kaya mong ibigay dun sa direksyon na walang tao eh.
And you can see that Gonzalez was a bit surprised by that approach of Eliza. I think she was really preparing for, of course, a quick attack. but it was a successful one.
Oh! Again, this thing has really been working for Bautista. Yung pagpalo in between the blockers. But let's see what other storylines we can highlight in this matchup. We have a Franny Reyes report here. Franny?
Earlier, I spoke with Zed Domingo, and she told me that in their game versus F2, at some point, they didn't realize that they had relaxed. And being Creamline, all teams will give their best. All teams want to beat them, so they cannot relax at all. They tried to catch up in that last set, but fell short. Weren't able to get the finish that they wanted. And now it's all about that bawi mentality, about correcting the errors that they had in the previous set and adjusting and making sure that their reception, their defense is all tight for them to get that win back to the panel.
Another long rally that we're witnessing here in set 4. Basa trying to end that. But Condota with an attack of her own in between Panaga and Basa.
Laura Condota adjusting to that very tight set. Medyo nasa net na talaga yung direction ng bola. So, may hirapan siya kung pinilit niya paluin yon. So, she just went for that power tip and penetrating through the hands of Panaga and Basa.
Gonzalez to Laura again this time around. Basa was there to guard that free ball. Eliza Valdez. But strong blocking by UAI.
Oh, single block by Jovelyn Gonzaga against Eliza Valdez. Two of the leaders from both their teams going one-on-one on top. And look at that acknowledgement from Gonzaga. Kita niya magko-cross court at talagang hinawi niya doon yung kanyang block and getting that block kill against Eliza.
Gonzalez to Gonzaga. Another strong rally here. Laura off the blocks of Basa. She's reading it very well this time around.
Definitely, and you can see the block reach of Basa, but etong si Condota using it to her advantage and checking it off her hands. Creamline calls for a time, Army 6-2.
Alam naman natin kung sino papalo eh. Ha? Bangs, maganda ang paso. Kung gusto mo i-drop mo na. Kung gusto mo ganyanin na. Huwag nyo lang paluin ng hindi maganda kasi lahat sila nakadepensa dun sa area. Di ba? So pag nasa kabila naman yung bola, relaxan tayo. Okay? Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Hey, Creamline!
Walang basta-basta bumabagsak sa kanila.
And what a turnaround from the UAI Army. We're seeing the bosses of the Creamline Cool Smashers, of course, supporting their squad.
Sir Alan Acero, the team manager of the Creamline Cool Smashers.
Oh, and a celebration for Ging Balse and the rest of her team.
You'd love to see a passionate Balse Pabayo dahil talagang using her veteran smarts as well, knowing exactly where to place that ball.
As we head to our first technical timeout here in set 4, the UAI Army leading. UAI Army Lady Troopers getting their groove here in set 4, still maintaining that lead against the Creamline Cool Smashers. Set 3 was 1 to the UAI Army. Set 1 and 2 to the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. At this point, they're both teams keeping the matchup exciting. Will we see a 5-setter today? Depends on how long, of course, and if the UAI Army can sustain their lead, and of course, if the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers
That's
would
not
want to
impossible.
redeem. Yeah.
Oo, kasi tingnan mo yung lamang. 6 points already, make that 7. Oh, but Coach Kufu is gonna call for a challenge. That point was initially awarded to CREAMLINE.
A block touch challenge from the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. The first challenge for set 4. The Army Lady Troopers right now have a comfortable 6-point lead, but of course, you know, Coach Kung Fu wants to make things sure, you know, especially since the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers have been quick to run after the score. The last challenge that was brought about by the UAI Army Lady Troopers in set 3 that led to them getting that set. So let's see if for this challenge they'll be able to increase their gap against the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. Yeah, they're challenging a block touch.
Actually, dalawang challenges ang pwedeng tignan doon, no? Kung in or out or kung block touch. But, you know, calling these challenges, communication with your players is also vital for you to know kung ano talaga yung greatest chance mo in calling a challenge. But this time around, no block touch. Oh, I see. Kasi yung tawag ng line judge kanina ay outside, but the referee called a block touch. That's why Coach Kung Fu challenged for a block touch, and it is a successful challenge and continuous momentum building here for the Army Lady Troopers, already having a 7-point lead against CREAMLINE.
Gia Tupangs Panaga.
And an instant recovery there, courtesy of that Panaga runner.
And the coaches were expecting that, actually. We can hear them from the side already shouting, "Baba, baba." Three serving 9. Gonzalez to Balse. To Guzman. To Valdez. Oh, good
Still a
save
good
there.
Oh, first line going attack by Celine Domingo. Again, not the strongest, pero she really knows how to make those points when needed. Binaba agad. And, you know, another thing of beauty to watch every time Celine Domingo attacks is her elevation. Talagang sabi ko nga, Celine lagpas ulo Domingo dahil ang taas talaga ng kanyang contact. But look at Tots Carlos really feeling it after that block point. That Carlos Domingo duo going for the double block. Really roofing the reinforcement. Condota and Army is gonna call for a timeout, 9-5.
Position to ang bola natin. Dora will take the outside. Long or short, if take the deep cross. Okay, then hit the ball higher. Okay?
Okay.
Now, ang magandang pasa, free one na lang tayo. Ayusin niyo yung atake natin, ha? Kasi naka-establish naman ng block nila, bigyan lang yung atake natin.
UAI!
On good pass tayo, ha?
The UAI Army Lady Troopers, fresh of that timeout after a scoring spree by the Creamline Pool Smashers, cutting the lead to just 4 points. Pangs Panaga still serving for her squad. Oh, service error. The first, I guess, for Pangs in this game.
Actually, ano na yan eh, pangalawa na yan. Di ba siya yung kaninang nagka-crucial service error also. And that usually happens every time Coach Kung Fu calls for a timeout. So, very strategic call for timeout also by Coach Kung Fu Reyes. And look at Tots Carlos really rallying the team, making those impact points count. And, you know, the leader that she is, talagang yan yung kailangan ng Creamline ngayon. Kasi wala yung kanilang import on the floor, so they really need someone who's gonna make the minutes count. And so far for Tots Carlos, it's been a good run for her.
Gonzalez to Condota. Gia will be giving the ball to Eliza Valdez.
Tight set for Eliza.
Ooh, Condota trying to make it work. But great follow-up by the Creamline Pool Smashers.
Another long rally in the making.
Gia, but Gonzaga was there. Gonzalez was there.
You would love to see this kind of system really in display for Creamline. Tots Carlos making a huge impact in the front line, but even in the back line, talagang makikita mo, she was taking charge of all those balls. Talagang inaako niya na. And in the front line naman, you have Eliza Valdez and Celine Domingo. And Celine Domingo just being the high-efficient spiker that she is.
Ooh, Laura with an attack of her own. But Atienza was there. Tots Carlos for the attack. Back to Laura on the hands of Gia de Guzman and Seth Domingo.
For Condota, this has been the most effective way to get points, no? To really use the hands of the blockers. For Bautista naman, makikita natin yung pagpapalusot niya, no? Mabilis yung wrist action. So it's a different style of play for every spiker here from Army, but so far so good. Everyone's been really effective. Also talking about Jovelyn Gonzaga, who was subbed out for this double substitution for Army. Ivy Perez now for the serve. They are still up by 4 points.
Delos Reyes is also on the court. She was quite the spark plug that the UAI Army needed for set 3. And of course, I think Coach Kung Fu would be looking for her to maximize her time as well on the court. The cross-court attack by Laura. The ball. I thought the ball was alive for a minute there.
Good attempt for recovery, but you know, I think Laura heard us. We said na yung kanyang most effective way to get points ay off the block, but that was such a clean hit and a powerful one at that.
The variety of attacks that Laura is able to do off the blocks of the Creamline Pool Smashers is amazing. But again, another amazing cross-court attack from the Phenom herself to keep the lead between both teams just at 4.
Good eye by Eliza. Nakita niya yung defense ni Condota at saka ni Nunag magkalapat yung pattern eh. So there was really a big opening doon sa dulo, sa sideline and sa may end line.
Villarreal. Gia setting it up for Gemma Galanza. Oh, a quick attack again by Seth Domingo.
Error there. Actually, that wasn't an error. That was an attack point for Celine Domingo. So they did not give a free point, but they did give a free set to Celine Domingo, leading to that 9 point of Creamline.
There's a strong reception there by Laura. Gemma Galanza down the line, back-to-back points for the Creamline Pool Smashers, cutting now the lead of the UAI Army to just 2.
Early on, it was Eliza targeting yung corner, no, via a cross-court hit. this time around, Gemma Galanza also looking at the sideline, and no one was there to defend the ball. And look at that save from Gemma Galanza, but
Again,
it's a
Laura
no-go.
off the block, scoring again.
So great pattern of scoring here for Laura Condota. She now has 18 points. Grabe. During the second set, 10 points pa lang. But now 18 points already for this reinforcement. I guess this is her highest output so far this conference. And look at Nunag really anchoring the defense of the Army Lady Troopers. But this time around, I don't think any player could still defend that ball. Palapit ng palapit yung bagsak ng bola nito ni Celine Domingo. That didn't even reach the first line, I guess. Yun, medyo lalagpas. Pero, of course, the pattern of defense. Ang ganda rin kasi nung Cabing eh. First line, pero lihis na lihis pa, cross-court pa din. So,
Seth Domingo is enjoying the sets being given to her. Nunag to Bautista. Oh, an attack error there.
the rare attack errors from Bautista. And now, you can see the fans roaring as CREAMLINE is now down by just 1 point.
Ang layo din ng hinabo ng CREAMLINE Cool Smashers sa gap sa score of the UAI Army. Seth Domingo with 14 points. Make that now 15. Scoring for her squad.
Tough serve for Nunag to let go. Alam mo, for Army, no, they are currently ranked 9. Pero they are #1 in digging. So, I guess today, they are maximizing their strength kasi nakakasabay sila sa atake. Diba? And they are converting all those digs. And look at that, Bautista again. A signature move going in between the hands of the blockers. Another clean hit for this veteran right here.
Bumawi siya after that attack error.
Now the lead is back. 14-13. Bautista already with 11 points while Gonzaga with 10.
I think that's 3 players for the UAI Army already in the double digits.
That's right. And on the side of CREAMLINE, we have Basa with 18, Domingo with 15, Galanza with 10.
Make that 11.
You can see Araneta just really cheering after that hit. Gia looking so relaxed at iwan na iwan. Itong si Ging Balse. Leaving an opening as well, a big opening for Gemma Galanza to just smash that ball.
Perez to Bautista. Atienza was there. Gia will be giving it to Tots Carlos right in the middle again. Tots Carlos finding the gaps here for the UAI Army Lady Troopers to continue their scoring spree.
If you're still on Twitter, you have to put in Tots Carlos in your answers today because I guess the Carlos and the Guzman duo is back for this game.
Boc Morado, the brother of Gia de Guzman on your screens a while ago. Part of the coaching staff for the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers.
Look at Nunag. Always ready for any form of attacks CREAMLINE has to give out.
She's working double time in today's game. But sadly not enough as CREAMLINE continues to score. This time around, they are the ones leading as we head to our second technical timeout. we are back here at set 4 between the Creamline Cool Smashers against the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers, rather. And for the first time since set 3, the Creamline Cool Smashers have the lead 16 to 14. They have turned the tables, much to the delight of their fans. Gia Morado de Guzman on your screens serving. She has so far 20 excellent sets for today's game.
Gonzaga and Gonzalez are now back in for the Army Lady Troopers. Again, those communication errors have been haunting the Army Lady Troopers all throughout this game, and Coach Tofu is gonna call for yet another timeout. Let's listen in.
Papalo, Jelay? Di ba galing ang haba ng technical time at pagbalik natin, naliligaw tayo pare-parehas. O sige, kalimutan. Sampasa, dalawang bola. Naka-out of system naman eh. Out of system, look for Laura kasi nga naka-design na sa kanya eh. Pipe or outside. Kaya kung wala, at least tawagin mo para hindi na naliligaw. Walang address eh. Kahit sino namang walang address, sino ba namang...
Ang ganda nung sinabi na ni Coach Kung Fu, tawagin nga daw kung kanino ibibigay. As we see Gia's husband, itong si Miguel de Guzman, also watching the game of Gia as they are celebrating their first wedding anniversary. Ayan, kanina nga pinati natin si Gia during our interview. But then natawa talaga ako dun sa sinabi ni Coach Kung Fu. Kausapin daw kasi sino ba naman daw na walang address ang malalaman kung saan nakatira. Makes sense.
Oh, Bautista. Thoughts Carlos, but Laura was there. Gonzalez to Gonzaga, who gave a free ball to the Creamline Cool Smashers. Gemma Galanza.
That spike was actually gonna sail out, but it was too strong. Nunag's very reactive to defend that ball. And Gemma Galanza gets another attack point. And her 13th point of the game.
Serving 14. Oh, the one good pass that Coach Kung Fu has repeatedly been saying in all the timeouts is not present currently, causing problems for the UAI Army Lady Troopers. That's why, for now, the Creamline Cool Smashers are in the lead with 5 points, 19-14. Soft touch by Bautista. She finally stops the bleeding for her squad. We look at this replay. Smart play there to get a score as Gonzalez serves. Gia to Gemma, soft touch. Bautista was there. Oh, Gonzaga with a strong cross-court attack. Back-to-back points for the UAI Army.
Then it takes me back to our discussion earlier. No Royce Tubino, who's gonna be the top scorer for RMU, is gonna lead them. And, you know, we know that the heart and soul is just embodying that moniker for Army. And Creamline is gonna call a timeout after that Jov Gonzaga hit.
Hey, we're fine, we're fine. Oh yes, we're doing great. Let's go.
Naman yung bola, sa gitara naman. At ginagayad na kayo nung nasa sweeper eh. Dahan-dahan lang, dahan-dahan ninyo lang. Okay. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Okay.
Hey, Creamline!
Happy!
And that's a timeout by the Creamline Cool Smashers again. The pace has been quite quick. Coach Sher reminding the girls, slow things down, one pass at a time. In different words, but similar to what Coach Kung Fu also says during his timeouts, the one good pass. Wow, strong hit there by Tots Carlos.
There was a check ball on that one. Kitang-kita ng referee because the play happened right in no, na kahit na ano yung itawag ng mga line judge kapag ka talagang very clear yung first referee on what he saw, binabawi niya yung call. But this time, it's a very clear outside serve from Gemma Galanza. This is still a 3-point game.
MG on your screens. Well, we shall see if Coach will put her back on the court. Gia, soft touch by Tots Carlos. Let's see the follow-up by the UAI Army Lady Troopers, courtesy of Gonzalez. Gia back to Tots. Another score there by Carlos.
Who would have thought that Tots Carlos played limited minutes all throughout this conference? Because it seems like the Carlos we're seeing now is who we left off at the Invitational Conference.
Again, right now, the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers have no reinforcement on the court. But they're making it work right now with their local players. Eliza Valdez with that attack, but too strong. Referees call that outside point to the UAI Army Lady Troopers. Reinforcement of the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers, Basa. Catching a couple of breaths. As Paran will be serving. 3-point lead for the Cool Smashers. Magalanza with a reception. Back-to-back points for the UAI Army.
Attack error to be called on Eliza Valdez. There was a big clearance actually for her. She took the right angle, pero medyo bumabalo yung kamay niya before contacting the ball at tatama sa net. And it sailed out. Now this is a 1-point ball game. And a bad call on the side of CREAMLINE for letting that ball go.
But a challenge will be called by the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers. If that point, though, is awarded to the Army Lady Troopers, they are on a 3-0 run. So will the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers be able to break that streak and momentum? We shall find out. Again, it's 21-19. The challenge is whether it's ball in or ball out. And the ball is inside. Challenge by the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers, unsuccessful. And the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers will go on a 3-0 run. Paran still serving. Gia to Seth Domingo. Bautista was there. Condota with the attack. Off the hands of Seth Domingo.
Lack of coverage there on the side of CREAMLINE, and you can see the celebration of the Army Lady Troopers after that very effective off-the-block hit by Laura Condota. She is now at 19 points. Bautista already with 12, Gonzaga with 11. And Audrey Paran has been serving us with those consistent serves.
We're tied at 21. Another long, exciting rally. Let's see who will end it this time around.
Easy pickup there by Bautista. And Jovelyn Gonzaga really insisting on Coach Kung Fu that that ball was in. And we are gonna see from this challenge called by the Army Lady Troopers.
They called that challenge pretty quick, like as soon as it was out. Let's challenge that. This is their first challenge for set 4.
And on the side of Army, a lot of good things have been happening to them because their wing spikers have been the most effective in this game. And, you know, Jovelyn Gonzaga insisting even going to where Coach Coach Kungfu only tells us how sure she was on that last call. And they get this point. They are back at the lead, 22 to 21.
On a 5-0 run. 5 consecutive points for the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. Scarlett says, no way am I letting my team go unscored for that long.
No challenges needed on that one. Even Army is very sure about that point. Going to Tots Carlos and CREAMLINE. We are tied at 22. Tots Carlos is now at the back line.
And in set 4, we encounter a lot of ties between both teams. Laura, I think this is maybe second, third time, again, off the block, off the hands of Seth Domingo. She's maximizing it every time.
That is a single man coverage there. Ang ganda nung tapat ni Seth, pero medyo nakalayo yung rest of her forearm from the net. And, you know, with the power that Laura Condota has been exerting here today, that point's gonna go to them.
Again, this is just the first game.
Oh! Another first line attack by Celine Domingo.
Bumabawi. Kailangan bumawi after a point was scored off of her.
No blockers there. Way above the net. High contact, high elevation, and high efficiency for Celine Domingo, your reigning MVP.
Gonzalez to Condota. Too strong attack error right there.
Good decision for Alyssa Tuleta at Bolgo, and they are now at match point 24 to 23. Let's see if Army gets to extend this set and the game.
What an exciting matchup between the CREAMLINE Cool Smashers and the UAI Army Lady Troopers. Whoa, Condota. Eliza was there. Gemma passing the ball. Gonzalez back to Laura. Whoa. And
Everyone in Araneta just cheering loudly. That was we could say a come from behind to win, at least in this set alone.
amazing performance. And with the way the fans are cheering, it's like we're already in the semifinals. And we did mention that that's the kind of entertainment that both squads will be providing this afternoon.
But hands down to the UAI Army Lady Troopers. Sabi nga ni Jovelyn Gonzaga, they're gonna give everyone a good fight, and that's exactly what we saw again in their game against Army today, as CREAMLINE takes this game in 4 sets. 25 to 23 in the fourth. We'll be right back.
And recap of the first game of this Saturday's PVL doubleheader. The CREAMLINE Cool Smashers win against the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers after 4 exciting sets, especially set 3 and set 4, Mela.
Definitely an exciting match, and kanina nabanggit din natin how these two teams are from the opposing ends of our tournament standings, pero hindi natin halata yun dahil parang magkadikitan lang sila sa laban today. But let's hear more from Franny Reyes.
And you can see again in the highlights, Gia de Guzman with 4 points and 23 excellent sets. She completed the duo really that Rachel Dakis was asking a while ago. But let's see who was the duo, I guess, that led to the win of the Creamline Cool Smashers. Franny Reyes is with some of the players from the squad. Franny?
I am with Gia Morado de Guzman and Yellow Basa. Congratulations on your win. Now, we saw a slow start and a catch-up in the third set. What happened there? Can you let us in on what was going on with the team?
Well, we have to give it to Army also. They gave us a good fight. They really fought hard in the third set, and we gave away too many points, too many unforced errors that we knew we had to recover if we wanted to win the game.
And of course, we saw them and the results of the game. So what motivated you guys? Where did you get that eagerness to finish strong?
Well, we know how hard we've been working in training, and we came from a loss also. So we wanted to build up again on our confidence, have a better start, to refresh talaga going into the semifinals.
Now, I'm sure your fans, you guys haven't won yet in 3 sets. Maybe one of these coming games, but we're always happy to have a Creamline win. Now, is there anyone that you or Yellow would like to greet or say hello to?
Türkçe konuşmamı istediler. O yüzden Türkçe söylüyorum. Anneciğim, babacığım ve sevgili eşim Onur. Sizi çok seviyorum.
Thank you so much, Yellow. Gia?
I'd like to greet hello to my family and also to our Creamline family and also to all of our fans and supporters. Thank you so much for being here today, for supporting us in every game, and we'll see you in the next.
All right, thank you so much. Let's head back to the panel.
Thanks, Franny. And there you have it. The Creamline Cool Smashers versus the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers. And look at the match highlights. There were quite a few players also that stood out. Of course, aside from Gia de Guzman and Yellow Basa. From the other squad, we have Bautista, Gonzalez, and of course, Balse. We can't forget the heart and soul of the UAI Army Lady Troopers, Jovelyn Gonzaga.
Definitely, you mentioned about these players who stepped up on the side of Army dahil sila talaga yung nagpahirap for Creamline to get this match in 3 sets, and they ended it in 4 sets. But look at Laura Condota scoring 21 big points. I believe this is her best outing in the tournament, but she's also had a lot of help from the reinforcements, especially Nene Bautista and Jovelyn Gonzaga, and great playmaking also by etong si Jane Gonzalez. Nakasabay siya dun sa opposite setting ng neto ni Gia Morado de Guzman. But nonetheless, a lot of weapons still for Creamline. We saw Celine Domingo also exploding with 16 big points, and ang crucial din talaga ng mga contributions si Tots Carlos in that 4th set, scoring 7 points, and I think 6 of those coming from the 4th set alone. So you see the capabilities and talents of not just Creamline but both these teams to really give us a really good and exciting matchup.
And I like it. Till the very last set, of course, both teams have kept the fans guessing if we will be able to extend to a set 5 and who will be able to get that bounce back win. As we mentioned earlier, that both teams, the Creamline Cool Smashers and the UAI Army Lady Troopers, are coming off a loss from their previous games. But the Cool Smashers, again, of course, will be able to clinch this win, again, solidifying their spot in the semifinals, ending the game in 4 sets, 3-1, 25-12, 25-18, 23-25, and 25-23. The player of the game was Gia de Guzman. As we look at our match statistics, 98-78 of the UAI Army Lady Troopers. The errors, not so far off. We've seen it quite come close. Bumawi, I think, yung Creamline with the 9 errors that they had in set 3.
Definitely, and you can see the disparity in terms of attacks, dahil that has always been the bread and butter of the Creamline system. But even in blocks, great contribution also from Seth Domingo and even Yellow Basa, and even Tots Carlos chipping in a few block kills and aces, diba? Nakita naman natin in the first set pa lang, ang dami ng aces na na-register. I guess 6 of those 8 aces came from the first set alone. So nothing to take away from Army. They really put up a good fight, especially them embodying how they are the #1 best defensive team of the tournament.
And now up next, again, man, that was just the first game. We still have the Petrogas Angels versus the Cherry Tigo Crossovers. Now, a while ago, we did say that the stage has been set for our first act. The Creamline Cool Smashers, again, winning the game against the United Auctioneers Army Lady Troopers in 4 sets, 3-1. And again, on behalf of the panel, I'm Denise Dansay, Melatuna, and our courtside reporter, Franny Reyes. Thank you so much for staying tuned to the first game here at the PVL Reinforced Conference. Welcome to the PVL, the heart of volleyball.